When Mahatma Gandhi was battling a viral flu in 1918, he told a confidant, "All interest in living has ceased." The 1918 highly infectious Spanish flu had swept through the ashram in Gujarat where Mahatma Gandhi was living. During this illness, Gandhiji rested, stuck to a liquid diet, and when news of his condition spread, a local newspaper even wrote, "Gandhi's life does not belong to him, it belongs to India." The deadly flu, which slipped in through a ship of returning soldiers that docked in Bombay in June 1918, destroyed India. Close to 18 million Indians were killed by the deadly influenza, which is more than all the casualties in World War I. During those tough times, what made matters worse was a failed monsoon that led to a famine-like situation, leaving scores underfed and weak. According to reports, India lost 6% of its people, more women than men. The 1918 pandemic is said to have claimed anywhere between 50 to 100 million lives world over. Although medical realities are vastly different now, the fact remains that there is still no cure for the coronavirus. One must remember that the 1918 flu happened in the pre-antibiotic era and there was not enough medical care for the critically ill. Back then in India, Western medicines were not widely accepted and people relied more on home remedies. However, separated by a century, there are some striking similarities between the two pandemics and some key lessons India can learn from the 1918 flu. The outbreak in then Bombay was the source of the infection spread in 1918. Maharashtra has so far reported highest number of coronavirus cases in the country, and with Mumbai being India's most populated city, there is a sense of fear among virologists on the spread of the COVID-19 infection. In 1918, the government advised people not to stay outside and spend time indoors. Newspaper reports reminded people that the disease spread mainly through human contact by means of infected secretions from nose and mouth. An advice that the government has brought out strongly during this coronavirus pandemic. During the 1918 flu, people were asked to avoid crowded places such as fairs, festivals, schools, public lecture halls, railway carriages, etc. And above all, not to panic much about the disease. An advice which the present government has been harping upon since the coronavirus reached India. In 1918, there was a shortage of doctors in the country since most of them were away on the war front. This led to NGOs and volunteers eventually joining the response. Citizens formed anti-influenza committee and set up dispensaries, opened small hospitals, raised money, and ran centers to distribute clothes and medicines. A government report back then said, "Never before perhaps in the history of India have the educated and more fortunately placed members of the community came forward in large numbers to help their poorer brethren in times of distress." The government has responded swiftly to the coronavirus pandemic. But, like a century ago, people of India will play a key role in limiting the virus's spread. With the number of coronavirus cases climbing by the day, this is something we as a country must keep in mind.